I think if you want to see the chart, you've got, there you go, visual capitalist. So, I mean, we can see just going back to 2016. And this is really mind-boggling stuff here. Going back to 2016, the global debt was 221 trillion. Today, 315. So within 8 years, we've added $100 trillion. Almost $100 trillion in debt. Wow. I mean, we've added almost 50% of the total global debt has been added in the last 8 years. And these are numbers that are tough to get your head around. You go over the fluctuation. This is what I'm most concerned with. This is what I want to highlight.
All right, let's just...
Since the onset of the pandemic...
You don't have to listen to some other idiot. You got me. You got me. Ham will come on early. I wasn't ready, so I'm sorry I look... I have a very painful knee and a very painful foot from gout. I think it's stress. I think stress makes that happen to me. Anyway, Ham will come on soon when he's free. And I don't have a whole lot that I prepared for. But let's look. He does. He'll get your juices flowing. I was going to come on at 2 o'clock and print out a couple of things, but finger is 182. Logic is under 2 cents. 0.0181, 0.0202. I did get a little bit of an update on CAUD. Not from the company, but they are fighting this NASDAQ ruling, and they're fighting it in an expedited way. The stock is hard to borrow. Personally, I think that the plunderers have attacked that company from the jump, and they don't quit. The 52-week high on the stock is 38.40, and they just don't quit. But the company is filing something. I forget the name of it. That's expedited, 7-day answer to get relisted. They're, according to the company, from a third party, they're in violation of nothing. They haven't done anything wrong. This is just, to me, it's just a trick. It's just a trick. But you know, the problem is if you think everyone you're dealing with on Wall Street is honorable, you're probably going to be right 98% of the time. It's just the 2%, the smiling liars that are psychopaths, that you get tripped up from. Now, I was listening to Junk Savvy this morning. I couldn't listen very long. My phone kept ringing. But apparently, the other side in the MMTLP situation, via Pete Sessions' office, and I have to admit, I only listened for about 15 minutes, but she is amazing. Junk Savvy on Twitter. She does such hard work, and I think she crystallizes a lot of different information into very cogent, understandable points. But anyway, the other side is arguing that we knew when we bought MMTLP that it was worthless because the par value is 0.01 or whatever it is. Guys, girls, every share's par value is nothing. I mean, I'll just randomly pull up, I don't know. I don't know if it's even here, so I might be wrong, but I'll pull up Amazon on Yahoo and see if they give a par value. They may not. But all shares par values are here statistics. They may not give the par value. They don't. So I was all hot and ready to show it to you. But in every offering that ever gets announced, par value is de minimis. That's just, there might be a reason for it that I don't understand, but it's just a legal, it's a legal, I don't want to say fiction, but it's just how it's done. Hey, Jean, uh, I, one of you guys is working to get a computer to me, maybe flying bus driver, that is used, of course, but it's the same as this one. Let me, well, no, I don't want to freeze this. It's got two whatevers, trillion megabytes, which I think I have here. I have either one or two here. But the key thing that's different, I believe when I bought this, and I'd have to look to confirm it, that my RAM is 8 megahertz or whatever that is. And that was the biggest I could buy at the time. I mean, it's an old computer now, but it was it was maximum of everything that I could buy. Well, anyway, his is 32. So maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to start putting things up to show you and making clips and not getting all frustrated and worked up when I'm talking to you, because I really do get worked up. You don't see it all the time, but sometimes you see it because it's frustrating. Oh, here's, what did T say? Has Logic finalized everything now? What's going on with CAUD? This is ridiculous that they didn't see this coming. I don't know who they is you're talking about, T, but for well over a year, Aubrey Advisors, and I'll just confirm it, but let me just pull up Aubrey Advisors. I think they're the bad guys, the no good nicks. But I'm all by myself. Everybody else thinks they're good guys and they are as good as their word. And all right, so you go to Aubrey, ABRIADV.com, private investment, corporate advisory services, turnaround, stabilize, problem resolution, private placement, private investment, home, a private firm that invests globally for its own account across a variety of assets, corporate advisory services, 25 years of international investment, team. This is where it gets really good. Jeffrey Tierman's group CEO. Yeah, he's such a great guy. He's 28 years of international investment experience, specializing in fund management, corporate funding transactions, turnarounds, restructuring, operational and financial workouts. Executed several long and complex international corporate restructurings. It's all CRAPPE. Jeff started Aubrey Advisors at the end of 2015, right when it got hot and heavy for the criminality. That's my opinion. Everything here is in my opinion and my judgment. I hear he's a great guy, keeps his word, does everything above board. Terrific. He lectures. He co-founded capital management companies. He went to Tulane University's business school. He got a BA degree there. and he's a Beta Gamma Sigma. I mean, this guy is amazing. And then you have the group CFO. You have an Amy Wall, VP of Operations. Anyway, I can't find it quickly here, T. Thank you for your full name. It shows a lot of courage on your part. But T, they were the advisors to the SPAC, and they've done over 100 of them. One of their guys has. Maybe it's Christopher Hart. Maybe it's Peter Baker. But this is a group of people together who, in your words, they should have seen it coming. I believe Aubrey Advisors intentionally left Collective Audience with no money and intentionally left Logic with no money, or they're incompetent. But they have CVs that go on till the end of time. And it's really impressive. And you know, they've got pictures of London, and man, they're great. Well, then their main investor was Polar. I forget the full name. Investors. Polar Asset Management Partners, a world of opportunity. I think that's the one. There's a couple, but I think this is the one. Let me look. We embrace change and see the opportunities. 6.1 billion AUM, 32 years, 17 strategies, building partnerships, niche-oriented risk management, fueling success. Our approach, we screw shareholders the old-fashioned way. We smile at them. Here it is, SPACs and closed-end funds. No. Anyway, I think this is the group. I could be wrong. There's a couple, but I believe this is the one. So yeah, they're in Toronto, right up there with Anson Management, Anson Funds. So what they do, Paul Sabaruin, yeah, here they are. Paul Sabaruin, Tom Sabaruin, Greg Lemich, Marina Lutova Myers. So let's just see. Toronto. Anyway, T, these guys put together, they sponsored the SPAC that Logic was spinning off into Collective Audience, and Logic was going to be a shell. They delayed, this is Aubrey, they delayed answering questions to the SEC, as I understand it. So the settlement period went out 2 months. That made Logic need to raise more money to get the deal done. They raised money. Aubrey Advisors raised $5 million. They didn't raise 7.5. They didn't raise 10 million. They raised $5 million. Half of it went to lawyers. Half of it went to Chadron. I think it was Chadron. It went to financial advisors. Let me look up Chadron. All this stuff is in filings. Chardin. Unflinching focus on growth, healthcare, disruptive technologies, SPACs. So they do these SPACs, Chardin, and this could be the company that is the bad guys. Groundbreaking transactions, bold opportunities, healthcare SPACs, fintech SPACs, cross-border SPACs, diverse sector SPACs, decades of experience, having underwritten more SPAC deals and advised more business combinations than any other bank. Chardin is uniquely qualified to guide you through a SPAC IPO. The Chardin approach, big smile, big liar, big smile, proven leadership, the right skills, a winning track record with over 170 SPAC transactions since inception, 38 billion in transactional value, 15 self or co-sponsored principal SPACs. Chardin has had a role in over 120 SPAC IPOs, raising 15 billion, and has advised on 51 SPAC business combinations totaling 23 billion in transaction values. We are sponsors merge, many possibilities, one company to get you there. So T, this was the group they turned to. So it's either Chardin, Aubrey Advisors, Polar is probably the source of the shorting, but there was another hedge fund too, so it might not be Polar. And there's the lawyers. There's only 5 entities here, and it was a setup, in my judgment, is set up from the beginning. Total setup. Why, T? Ask yourself this question. These guys have decades of experience that deliver meaningful impact. Wow! And they've done 120 SPAC IPOs. Well, all right, they did the SPAC, 120 of these. Says so here. And the guy's smiling. You got to believe him. He doesn't wear a suit, so he's on your side. So let me ask you something, T. Why did they raise $5 million to pay the lawyers and the financial types, and they left collective audience with zero money? Why? Why did they leave Logic with zero money? Why? It is so they could crush the stock, and then when collective audience comes back to them, because they're all good guys, collective audience has to raise money not at 38, not at 20, not at the $11 that the independent valuation had, and it stayed at forever, at $1, at 80 cents at the market. So it destroys the denominator, and it helps the counterfeiters of shares, the plunderers. In my opinion, it's Aubrey Advisors. Polar. Aubrey gets a kickback. Chardin gets a kickback. But I think it's Polar. But it could be other investors. There was a second hedge fund. Now there's a guy. All right, here you go. We'll pick that up later.
William?
Yeah, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to get a quote.
I'll pick a better time to answer the phone.
No, I just wanted to get a quote so I see what's going on. All right. So again, we'll start off with finger motion. We're down to 60 trading days before the election. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Everyone here. I do sound like a broken record. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but the day keeps changing, so we know you're not a broken record.
Okay. You have to vote for Trump, whether you like it or not. He has Pat Byrne. I could put up videos about Pat Byrne exposing the stock settlement system until the cows come home. If you think he's going to be polite and give these guys one more inch, all right, of freedom or unsettled trades, it's not a prayer. He's gonna execute them all. All right. I just put up the video where he's talking about Goldman Sachs being just a stock lending firm. It's just that's all they do. They make 75% of their revenue from lending out stock. They lend out stock that they don't even own or have. I mean, they just create easy to borrow lists. They've done everything wrong. Patrick Byrne spent $30 million, years of his life, okay, fighting this, and he's not letting him go. So, take it with a grain of salt, but if he wins, it's all over with. All right, that I can promise you that.
Again, I was talking about GDC. A broker out of Morgan Stanley told a friend that they're hearing that the insiders are buying stock. As soon as I said something about it, they started knocking it down to 215. Again, if it's going to go, it's going to go. All right. So, many, these little bear raids. I talk about bear raids, William, and I put up the bear raid in Apple, the bear raid in the video, the sell off attached to a bear raid. If you look at them, I've always told you, you can buy the dips, sell the rips. Those things have bounced back 25% in 15 trading days, 20 trading days. So,
Yeah.
I mean, these things are pushed to the extreme. I think NVIDIA traded 500 million shares down to 92 one day. $92. It's back to 125, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe a little high, 123. It was high, we say it was 125. So, buying, when the shorts come in, they push everything to the extreme because they want people to panic, get margin calls, and then they scoop them up. And then they turn it around, and it goes back up, and they re-short it again. That's what they do. That's what real shorts do, William. All right? Real shorts let stocks go higher. So everybody on this call, don't chisel it into the wall right on your face. All right? If they thought they were going to win, they let the stock go higher. Everybody wants to sell it short at a higher price because they make more money if the stock does fail. The criminals that we're dealing with try to hold it down. GDC looked great, and they're trying to hold it down. Why? You sell stock at $2.20, $2.40, $2.50, but instead they'd rather sell it at $1.90. Right? So that is the pattern. It's the same pattern. No matter what stock we look at, it's the same stupid pattern. All right? Again, they're just selling it back and forth. Finger Motion has 0 sellers. 0. The company funded itself. And I spoke to a gentleman yesterday who said that, if the company just needed a few bucks, it's obviously they needed it for some new business. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard anything. But if they raise money, they raise money for a new business. All right? And they sold it to their own friends and family, whoever it is in Asia, and they have a 6-month restriction on it. So if there's a 6-month restriction on it, there's no stock for sale. So the attack trying to push it down was a non-event. Okay, that was a waste of time. They were just kind of hoping that you would follow along. All right, and if you say to me, well, show me in another case. Well, KNW, you looked at it, they raised money, they destroyed the stock down, and then they tried to pop it back up. All right, but that money was raised with all fast money guys. I posted, William, a few minutes ago about KNW. KNW, the only people who made money in that stock are Lynn Partners, Benchmark, and their friends. Every investor, including the CEO, has lost money in KNW. They haven't had a chance to make any money. All right, it hit a new low, 23 cents, and there's millions of shares that are flooding the market thanks to their funding. Finger Motion is complete opposite. They didn't give away a share of stock, and you won't see it for 6 months. All right? So what's going to happen within the next 6 months? We got 60 days. That's 3 months until Trump gets in and Pat Byrne comes along. I think we have less than 20 days until the dividend is out and the record date is well known by then, which makes the short another 10% short. The company's earnings are coming back out. Who knows what revenue they're driving in or the deals are coming in. These are things that are coming out, coming fast, and coming at us real quick. Does anyone have a question about any of that nonsense?
I mean, look, one guy's asking you, let me find him. Why is the SEC slow walking the finger warrant dividend?
I don't believe they are. I think it's just normal. And I spoke to an attorney that follows this type of stuff. He doesn't feel that they are. Maybe they had a couple of questions. If the SEC has a couple of questions, they send it to the company. The company has to answer the questions. And I think, William, the CEO said it on one of the conference calls that they had to answer.
Yeah.
It was in their hands or something like that.
It was the last investor relations guy, I forget his name, Skyline or something. He was asking him, and he said, yeah, we had a couple of questions we had to answer. We answered them quickly, and we expect a response. Jim, I think personally, it's my own opinion, we're in that period of August where nobody does jack shite. And so we got to wait till September. And I think as people come back to school, they hit their desks running. I bet you see a bunch of things come out of the SEC in the first 1 or 2 weeks of September. And I bet this approval will be there. There's no reason it should take much longer.
There's no reason. They can't stop it. They have nothing to do with it. It's done all the time.
Yep.
You know, look at K&W. They just issued warrants and the funding to, Benchmark. Benchmark issued stock and warrants. They raised money. These things happen all the time. What Finger Motion is doing is making it a tradable warrant. Okay, maybe there's a little more questions to it. Maybe there's questions about what's the matter.
That guy with 3 first names, I think you call him Roger Rabbit. He's doing another reverse stock split. It's his fight. Remember that, Michelle. It's his fight against the shorts.
He did it already. His stock's $1.30 now.
Well, he's going to do it. Apparently, he already did it. All right.
It was 13 cents, so now it's $1.30.
He must have done it today or something. Good for him. The thing is, it doesn't work the first time, doesn't work the second time, doesn't work hundreds of times. But let's try it again. Maybe we'll be different.
Listen, he keeps trying to build his business, and he uses the investors as toilet paper. That's it.
They did today, August 16th, a 1-for-10 reverse stock split. So Michelle, guess where that stock price is going to go?
Back down.
Yes, where it's going to go.
So everybody who owns stock is lost again. And listen, I can't call him a bad guy because maybe he's trying to save the company and his vision, whatever he's doing. I will call him a bad guy because he could care less about what he's doing. These shareholders just got wiped out.
Look, if you claim to be fighting, this is my billion-dollar fight against the shorts, you're claiming expertise. So if you do this, you're a bad guy. That's my opinion. It's my opinion.
Well,
I'm sure he's great. He's got that wonderful British accent, and his hair's dyed just the right color. So, guys, stick with him if you believe him, but I think he's a bad guy.
There's nothing to listen. I'm not going to call him a good guy or a bad guy. The company stays alive. Shareholders are wiped out. K&W, shareholders are wiped out. The company's alive. MULN, shareholders wiped out. The company's alive. CELU, shareholders wiped out. The company's alive. Anyone see the pattern yet?
Yeah, they separate lawyers. It's like those drugs that assassins take, maybe, that separates the crime from their brain. Lawyers allow CEOs and boards to separate their responsibility to shareholders from just working for the company. And that separation is not right, but that's what they do. Hey, you got to keep the company surviving and screw the shareholders, because the shareholders will end up with nothing if you don't do this. This is because all of CEOs out there are not good at raising money. They don't have courage, and they don't want to do the hard work. They want somebody to come in and give them money. And hey, I'm a genius. I went to Harvard, or I went wherever. I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it. I think CEOs are complicit in this.
It's the Wall Street. I told you, it's the car wash. You come in, they dilute the stock, you raise money, always at the bottom, you pump it back up, fails again, they come back, you want more money, you have to reverse the stock. So they give you the money, they reverse the stock, and the shorts are controlling the companies. That's it. That's how it goes.
So look at 2 companies. I'll pick 2 unrelated companies. Look at maybe CVM or Northwest Bio or MULN. Look at those companies versus Finger Motion. Finger Motion is now 50 million shares or whatever, 55, 54 million shares. The CEO is not going to allow Wall Street to expand that to $1 billion. These other CEOs, now I'm not blaming the CEOs completely. It's also the regulators, it's journalists, it's your brokers, it's everybody out there lets it happen. The only guy I know that's fighting it's right here. But the difference is, if good things happen, let's say that Finger gets a massive contract. I know you don't believe it. I know you don't believe it. But if they got a massive contract worth $500 million in revenue spread out over 5 years, let's say, and or something like that, and it was clearly stated, guess what? They divide that 100 million to 150 million a year in revenue for a metric by 50 million shares. But if an MULN gets a contract, or a CVM, or a COSM, or any of these companies, they have to divide it by 1 billion shares. It's the same contract, but instead of dividing it by 50 million, they divide it by 1 billion or 2 billion shares, and the criminals win. And then they say to you, oh, you should never have invested. Par value is 0.01. What? I mean, these guys will say anything. Anyway, I'm sorry, I hijacked your call.
No, I listen. I look at CVM. I know the guy Gert for 20 years, 20 plus years. I don't know how many times he reversed it. I'll say, off the top of my head, I'll say at least 10 times. I may be wrong. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 15, but I'm going to say 10. He just did it again. He raised money at $1, and now he's blessed the shares again. That's another. He raised I think he raised 10 million. I think I'm not even sure what the amount is. If he raised 10 million at $1, there's another 10 million shares back into the company again. He reverses it, but his thing is, hey, I'm going to cure cancer. Now, how do I say that the guy's a jerk if he's trying to do this for 20 years, right? Maybe he's right there and he's going to get it done. I don't know. But meanwhile, he still gets paid a big salary. He's always making money, blah, 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 blah. So you look at it and say, Kurt, this is 20 years of you supporting yourself. Every investor that I know has got wiped out of the stock. And they're loyal people. Wiped out.
So Aaron writes, reverse splits do not work. I have seen time and time again a company do a reverse split and the stock 5 months later is back to pennies. So Aaron, and I'll ask Cam too, why do CEOs keep doing it? I mean, the evidence is there. And you wonder, are they stupid? They might be.
No, the stocks are held down.
Yeah.
They use the NASDAQ delisted, the New York delisted. They get those letters. The regulators have the exchanges. The shorts have the exchanges. Once you go below $1,
yep,
they come out with the letters saying you're going to be delisted, right?
It's a slaughterhouse. It's a slaughterhouse.
It's a slaughterhouse. There you go.
It's a slaughterhouse. That's all it is. And people think, oh, Ham and I were up in New York when Finger Motion, I think it was $4.36. I could be wrong. But when they're proud and they're up in the lights and they did a big production and it felt great. But here, what is it later on? NASDAQ's just a slaughterhouse too. For small companies.
They lie. They don't do any. All you have to say to them is, how come no one's settling the trades, and they all run away? There's no answers.
Yeah.
For example, listen, look at MMTLP. The government has accused everyone, anything around that stock, as being criminal. But they won't tell anybody how many shares existed in the blue sheets. Think about that. They did everything possible, but they'll never tell anybody what was the blue sheet count. Before you call us all criminals, give us the number. How many shares did these people sell? They never said anything. It's what, 630 days, they won't say anything?
Right.
So they do is they go in after John Burden, they went after, they killed MMAT, you name it, and they just keep coming. They got to protect the system, but Pat Byrne is going to expose the system. You just listen to the call. You got the inside information from Pat Byrne. He tells you himself, before I leave this planet, I'm going to fix stock selling. That's what he said. So if you don't believe it, I put up 100 things. Go watch Pat Byrne. That's all you need to know. He's the type of guy that doesn't fool around. And if Donald Trump said, and I have nothing to do with that, on day one, I'm going to fire Gary Gensler. Day one. People keep telling me, oh, we need the Senate. Trump told you, get me in, I'm firing him day one. He's a Goldman Sachs stooge. We put the truck in front of the SEC how many times? 16 times. You know, I spoke to a group of investors the other day, and they asked me about, whistleblowing. I said, you can call up a whistleblower. No one will even know that you made a call in. You get some stupid number that you called. There's no real proof of what you said. The truck tells us, if we say exactly what we're saying, it's right there. So we have proof. That's why we put the truck there, because we control the proof. Being outside the SEC's door, I mean, that is just a tremendous photo opportunity to sit there at the front door, in the lobby almost, at the SEC. Everyone sees the truck. Everyone sees the truck. We did it at the SEC Enforcement Conference. My friends, that is whistleblowing times 1,000. We were right there. I won't even tell you that we handed out on everyone's desk our own flyers with the front page having the symbol of the SEC to make it look like it's a approved document. And it was all about finger motion. All the information was on there with a barcode. Everything was right there. On everyone's desk. We had people go in before the show at 7 o'clock in the morning with suits and ties on and distribute all the flyers all over the place.
Ultra Frank Brady.
Why, right, William?
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm just watching them manipulate GDC down, which is okay. Listen, if the event is going to happen, it's going to happen. So I'm not worried about the 10 cents that they manipulate. This is the same pattern they did in finger motion, right? If the Chinese are going to attack it, they're going to attack it. So I'd sit here, watch it. Where are they going? The company's not getting delisted. It's over $1, right? The story goes on, and here we are. So that's where we are. Anything else?
Let's see.
Finger motion 0.0.0 selling. August 26th, we get to see the new short interest. It was 1,420,000. On the 26th, we get to see the new interest. Today is the 16th. How many days? We got 5. We only got 5 more trading days to the 26th. That Monday is the new short squeeze trigger number. Shortsqueeze.com. You can get the actual data on it. On the 26th, that's 5 more trading days. They're 1,420,000. We traded 35,000 shares. They're not even watching them anymore. Something's going on behind the scenes where they're being monitored, because this is like completely opposite of what we've seen. So my belief is that our friends at Lynn are going to be making the headlines soon. I think at the SEC as an unregistered, toxic lender or unregistered broker dealer. Remember, being unregistered, that means they hide all their transactions. Being registered, that means you have to show your transactions. Now you know why they all get busted. Did Andrew Left give them up? Andrew Left his court date is in September, at the end of September. Give up Jeff Easton, Andrew, and get some years off your prison time.
Right.
There you go.
I don't know this stock, FFIE.
I don't remember that stock. I don't know what it is. I don't know what FFIB is. $196.
So here's common sense. I mean, he's coming in with common sense. The pattern is simple. It's the company's fault. They don't make a profit and they have terrible balance sheets. Well, common sense, you shouldn't. I don't know what to tell you. Go buy a big stock.
That has no idea in history. Because I remember Amazon, and I can go back and dig up the stories when Amazon first started. It lost every transaction that anyone bought anything. It lost money.
I mean, you can go to other companies. Remember MasterCard and Visa when they were in trouble. You can, oil companies, Exxon.
All of them, every one of them. right?
Yeah.
So what happens is, to the gentleman who's saying that, the short sellers are playing Caesar and deciding who lives and who dies. Let's look at Apple Computer. No one's buying new Apple phones. They're giving them away for free. All right? Warren Buffett's selling the stock. What are they doing? They got $1 trillion, whatever they got in cash, whatever any money. What's the big deal? What are they doing? They're making TV shows. No one cares. Who cares? I could see you put out a story that the stock is, has met its top. It's top down. What do they say? William, like Commodore computer, remember, it was $100-something, went to zero, right? There's plenty of big companies that get wiped out. So again, it's about the vision of what they're trying to do. If you can't see a vision of a company trying to do things, then you know what? Like, look at GameStop. They have no business. So shut them down. But wait a second, they got $4 billion in cash. So which way do you want to look at it? Is it the company's a failure or they have money? Which one is it? They have to go build a business now. Go start a business.
Right.
I don't understand that logic. Companies working on CDMs, working on the cure of cancer. It's $1. Your risk is $1.13. If he cures head and neck cancer, the stock's 100.
Oh, this guy's pointing out that the CEOs work to generate revenue and profits. That's like Martin Shen. And they use the capital to create value, not pay big salaries. Common sense, you don't have any common sense. What the criminals do is destroy the denominator.
They blame everybody. Blame. Just like the SEC. Listen, anybody on this phone, if you were a CEO of a public company, guess what? You work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and to sit here and to say you deserve not to get paid, many of them don't get paid. They give away their salaries, right? Because they're afraid to spend money. Their stock is, they can never sell their stock because they're held as a terrorist if they ever sell stock as an insider selling. Maybe they got to send their kids to college. So I always tell CEOs, you better off quitting and go work at Walmart. You make more money working for $20 an hour than you will being a CEO of a public company, because the government is allowing the criminals to rob you blind. That's what I tell people. So CEOs, they're morons for taking these jobs. They should just pump it up, sell everything, and just let it go to zero. You're better off. Pay a fine to the SEC and walk away, because the government's not protecting you, your family. People give up. I remember the CEO of XXII. He was a guy from Harvard University. Great guy from Buffalo. I forgot his name. He worked, he traveled every day, going to meet brokers, getting people to get behind everything. He did everything you could possibly do. They kept naked shorting the stock, killing it on him. Eventually, he got divorced and he quit. So his whole life was ruined because of naked shorts. Nothing else. The stock never went up. He had to keep trying to raise money. He had to work harder and harder and harder, and the stock just keeps getting killed.
So Bill
Who wants
Michael,
that job? Who wants to sign up for that position?
Bill Michael describes it very well. He says the only thing a reverse split does is keep a dying company on the Wall Street hamster wheel. It's a rigged casino. Yeah. If the company made a different decision, they might get out of that dying category, but they have to have the courage to break the mold, think their own way, and not listen to their liar lawyers, and not listen to Jeff Easton or Yorkville.
Wait a second. I think based on that, I think I found the company. I think Finger Motion is that company.
Exactly.
They got rid of Jeff Easton, tossed him out the door, never came back to Wall Street again, building a fundamental story, raising capital with their own friends.
Yep.
Instead of making it free trading so their friends could profit, they locked it up for 6 months. And nobody on this phone call, if I can tell you, come to me with 50 to 100,000, I'll introduce you to the company. I'll get you the same deal at $1.50, but you're locked up for 6 months. Let's go, step up. Let's see how many people want to do it.
Yep.
Not one person will do it. I won't even do it. Because if the stock takes off within that 6 months, you can't sell it.
Yep.
Very different. Those are real investors that put the money up. Real investors can't put up $10, $20 million. Real investors put up $2, $3 million. Scumbags put up $10 million. Lynn partners are giving you $10 million. They always got 10, 5 million. They throw it out like it's free money. Because it is free money. They already shorted it. And when you do the transaction, they cover it.
Exactly. Exactly. And they do it through front. And oh no, we're not doing anything with the shorts. We're doing it with Alpine Blue Skies Forever Capital out of Toronto, and they're good guys. Well, they're just processing your good cash into the sewer of the short sellers. That's all they're doing. So if Trump doesn't win, is Finger Motion dead? I assume that's the stock Randy Hobbs is talking about.
Now, see, that's the difference, Randy. If you're paying attention, the company's doing moves obviously ahead of anything that goes on with Trump. The Trump thing just jumped in our face, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, where Pat Byrne, we got the message from him, then Trump came out, he's buying that. That just came to light recently. And we followed up with it and alerted people to what they're saying, right? So I agree, it's going to be the rest of the market's worthless. I would never buy anything again. I would just go out there and become Andrew Left. Everything you say is negative. Become Timothy Sykes. He's another guy that belongs in jail.
Timothy Yikes.
Just do that. Look at the firm the other day, ACS. They sold 10 million shares of stock. They said they didn't borrow it. Well, if they didn't borrow it, that means they naked shorted it, correct? But
Yeah.
how could they even word it that way, right?
Yeah. I said it to you on the phone, and I've said it to people here before, but I understand this has been a long year. I mean, look at Finger. They've driven it down for 7 months. That's not normal, guys. It's just not normal. But they do it. It's normal in the new markets of NASDAQ and FINRA.
I just put up the video of Judge Bagley from Pat Byrne. That's Pat the Burns guy. I wrote how Lynn Partners funds companies. They signed the paperwork. They got another person. We won't short the stock. It's Lynn Partners' name on the paperwork. They have another name that shorts the stock, and they said, we don't know those people. They're not us, but obviously it's someone close to them. And they just changed the name. So I just put up a video. A second grader, you take the time to figure it out, very easy. Lynn Partners gives the money to Finger Motion, right? Then Lynn Partners says we won't short the stock in the paperwork. And then there's a company called Rhino Advisors. They're the naked short sellers in that one, Sedona. We don't know the name of the LLC that is shorting Finger. That's the missing ingredient, right? And it's just changed the name. It's the same pattern. It's right there.
So
Pat Byrne did that first of all.
This same gentleman is saying, did someone say fundamentals don't matter? That's total BS. You didn't listen to the whole sentence. To the criminals, fundamentals don't matter. To the criminals.
It doesn't make a difference what they do.
It doesn't matter. So whatever. Common sense, you're welcome to your ideas. I'm just telling you, you don't have common sense. You don't have uncommon sense. You're basically just repeating bumper stickers, and I find it a little bit tedious.
I can do it all day long. I can go on Twitter and say the same thing. The CEO is diluting the stock. They're going to reverse it. The company's getting delisted. Here, hold on a second. Yeah, wait. I'm going to be a bastard for you. KNW, the stock. Yeah, I'm doing it real time. Will be delisted because it's below $1.
So,
hold on a second.
all right, relax, everyone.
NASDAQ, new rules.
New rules.
And KNW, which is true, the stock will be
New rules.
delisted because of the stock price, right?
New rules.
Or they would be forced to reverse.
New rules.
All right, so there you go. I just told the truth. The stock will be delisted because of the stock price. Hold on a second, I spelled it wrong. Give me a second, William. Take it easy.
Oh God, there's a vaccine for monkeypox. Oh, lucky boy, what's wrong with your leg?
All right, so the stock will be delisted because of the price. That new rules are they'll be forced to reverse. Thanks for listening.
Sweetheart, what's wrong with your?
And so there you may think it is a venture, but I'm just telling the truth based on the NASDAQ new rules. The stock is 30 cents. They're going to have to reverse it. So that means everybody who's in this company is going to get smacked. And what's the reason to own it? There is no reason. That's where it is. Just a matter of time before it happens, right? And I said it at 90 cents, and I told everyone, and I'm not a short seller. For those who don't understand that, I don't short the stocks. I told you in KNW as soon as Lynn invested it was going down, it was 90 cents. It's now 30. Think about the stock was $90. It's now $30. That's a great trade, right? What happened? All the company did was take money from Lynn Partners, and they lost how much? 70% of the value? How's that, William?
Yeah.
The only thing this company did wrong in trying to fix or whatever they're doing with diabetes. Hold on 1 second.
Hey, good boy. I'm sorry your foot is so bad. You're a good boy.
I'm sorry, William.
All right.
But again, all the company's done wrong is basically say that they raised money. That was it. The diabetes product, whatever it is, no one gives a shit. Every shareholder in that company is going to sit there and say, "What's going on? We're doing great. The CEO says it's great. Let's buy more." They did that at 50 or 60 cents. Then the company just raised more money. What happened now? We went down to 20 cents. Who got the cheap shares? The criminals. Who made the money? Lynn Partners, Benchmark, and their friends. Who lost the money? All the investors. They're sitting here holding a bag of shit. And that's the whole game.
And the whole thing Wall Street wants you to do is turn to the wealth manager at Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch that'll put you into a mutual fund or an ETF and let them manage your money. And they're going to tell you, hey, it was stupid to get into over-the-counter stocks. And you know what? Who can prove them wrong? Because there's nobody enforcing the rules. Nobody.
Listen, the whole thing is stock settlement. Settle the trades, and the crimes can happen. No one would lend money. The money would dry up in 2 minutes because none of these people lend money. The only person that can get money was finger motion. They got it from their friends. Right? They got it from investors overseas. In the U.S., you couldn't get money from anybody. Zero.
Here's a question. I like the optimism. If Finger were to get into a short squeeze, could it go over $1,000?
Yes, 100%. And people, I'm not here for a stock to go to $10. It was at $7 or $8. What was it? $9.
Oh, I remember when it went to like almost 17.
Yeah, but it went to 10 recently.
Right.
Still here.
Right.
It went to 10. We're still here.
Yeah.
We're here for a reason. Because the upside is infinite. Do I need to post the story about Volkswagen? Do I need to post the story about GameStop? There was a company called GameStop that went from $3.75, which I did a full report on and posted on Twitter, that the stock was going to explode. I put the stories out. I gave a report to the government of Abu Dhabi. I gave it to Abu Dhabi Global Markets. That is the SEC of Abu Dhabi. I did a report on it. I knew it was going to go. I didn't know what time it was going to go. I didn't know the day. I didn't study every tick about it, but I have studied every tick about finger motion. Every tick, every trade for 5 years. A little different. And I think everybody in GameStop had no idea, including myself, how high it would go. All right? And I'm an expert on it. The highest we sold it was 118. I said it 50 goddamn times. We sold it on the way up. The highest we sold it was 118. Looking back, we said, oh, we're fools. But guess what? Finger motion, we're too smart now. We know how big it's going to be. And the education by everyone on this phone, understanding. Now, you can get out, you can pay $2 for it, sell it at $2.50. God bless you, good luck. I could care less. And people will do that. And that's what trading is. People, if you're trading and you buy a stock at 2 and you sell it at 2.5, that's your pattern. Stick with it because that's your pattern. But I don't want to do that anymore. So I've seen it. We trap them. I know they're here and where they're going. That's how I look at it now.
So this is an operational question from Gretchen. If someone purchases call options on a stock and the stock splits, do the call options also split?
Yes. They do split, yes. They adjust them.
In general, when you get in these stocks and there's
What split are you talking about? Finger motion is not doing a split.
No, I don't know who she's talking about. What you're saying is if they change the price of the stock because of a split, the core price, I can't make up an example. The options are adjusted for that.
Yeah, they'll be like, the stock.
If the option was 75 and they did a 2-for-1, it'd become 37.5. I don't.
Yes, they'll have calls at 38. Yeah, there'll be all the options to be cut. They'll do they adjust.
So what do you think? I don't know this one. What do you think of B. Riley being under investigation?
Maybe that's the sacrificial lamb to wipe them out, so that Virtue, VIRT, Jeffries, and these other guys can stay alive.
Yeah.
Because B. Riley is a half-ass firm versus those other ones.
It is tough for CEOs to not listen to their lying liar lawyers. But the fact is, CEOs have to grow a pair, whether they're female or not, and just fight this. Otherwise, like Ham says, they might as well go work at 7-Eleven.
I tell them that all the time. I'm the first person to tell them. I tell them I spoke to a company. I can't remember, A something. I told the CEO and I told the lawyer to their face. I said, what color is your certificate? I said, what color is your certificate? And he goes, what? I said, because you're going to use it as wallpaper. It's going to be worthless. And guess what? It reversed, worthless. They got wiped out. He didn't want to fight back.
This gentleman is saying that Schwab just took his cash account and added margin to it without his approval so they can lend shares even if no margin is used. That's not what's happening, come out. Wall Street used to have type 1 and type 2 accounts, cash and margin. Now they only have margin. Everything you put into Wall Street is electronic. There's no more physical shares. Everything is in street name. And that's how they perpetuate this fraud. That's how they do it. And they don't tell you. Back when I was your age, people they deposit shares, their account was automatically type 1. Stock certificates were held up in New York in their name. That's why you needed 5 days to settle. You had to send a bike from Bankers Trust over to Dean Whittier's clearing. They stamp them all, they change it, goes to the transfer agent, it gets done. That's why you needed 5 days. You don't need it anymore because everything's electronic. But the flip side of that,
Dean, what do you call it? Dean what?
Whittier, California, Dean Witter. But it was
Dean Witter. I'm like, what the
Nixon. Nixon was from Whittier, California. You know, Sears. That Sears owned Dean Witter for a while.
Listen, everybody on the call, take 2 minutes, call your broker up and say, do not lend out my shares. Whatever stock you're in, you don't want them lend out. You don't make any money from it, so how are you lending it out for?
Your gentleman who tells you you can't handle the truth. I stand on the wall and I protect you from the barbarians. He's telling you that he thinks we should all make a blood oath not to sell finger below 1,000 a share. And his name is?
It's tell Rosenberg, tell him to stop. Where was he? Hit his head against the brick again, that idiot. People, see, when people say stupid things like that, I have to address it.
You guys must be good friends.
Listen, I would never say that to anybody because guess what? People have kids going to college. People have medical issues. People have this. It's impossible. And that's why the shorts win, because longs have issues. We all can't unite together. It's impossible. You know what? I have family. I have children. If someone needs something I have to sell, fuck you. I got to sell. That's just the way you should look at it to me. I would never respect anybody who tells you that. And these morons in GameStop and this whatever AMC telling you it's diamond hands, they're full of shit. No one can ever do that. Everyone has different ownership. Everyone has different money. It's completely nonsense.
So that reminds me, somebody asked me about RNVA, and you might remember it. It was a stock Lou recommended. But what do you think about a stock that's seller boxed? It has no bid, and it trades millions of shares. What's really going on there?
I think they're just moving money from account to account.
Yeah, that's it. And I also think the market makers can make outrageous daily trades.
There's no one buying those things.
No,
I think they're just moving money around from account to account to hide whatever the hell they're doing. That's what I think is going on.
Oh, Gretchen's asking you, is the dollar delisting rule a proposed rule or an actual rule? Actually, it's each exchange. It's NASDAQ sets it up. They set it up so you get slaughtered if you're a company. And you do a deal with Jeff Easton, the lying bastard. And as you know, everything I say is my opinion, my judgment, editorial. It's just a way of slaughtering their own. That's all it is.
It's a NASDAQ new rule. VIRT it was in the journal, is heading this up. VIRT is a naked short seller virtue. And guess what they want? They want to short your stock down below $1. And then they're going to have NASDAQ murder you.
And it's free money. And Ann Wagner, who's in charge of supervision, doesn't want a consolidated audit trail. She's someone you could write a letter to, but they don't care. Wall Street, Congress, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
That's what they do. So the naked shorts, Virtue, and the others are now knocking you below $1. They drown you. They're holding underwater. Then they call the NASDAQ up, say, this company's below $1. They say, okay, we got to send you a notice. And everyone on this phone call can see it. Oh, they got the notice. They're going to be delisted. Oh, my God. What happens now? We're delisted. What is it? The delisting is because they're being held down. That's it. That's what happened. Think about that. Who couldn't do that?
It's self-fulfilling. And then they come back and tell you it's your fault. They're just liars. Just liars.
That's 100%. They create it, drive it down, and now they want to have to regulate it, put the nail in it. The final nail in your coffin. The NASDAQ is going to say, we got to delist you because your price is not $1. That's what's going on. What else? That's it? Does everybody else
I don't know the stock saying. There's more honor among illegal naked shorters than there is in your army of ham short killers. That is fresh off the press from Stephen A. Rosenberg.
Listen, I don't have an army. I don't control anybody here. Okay, this is not synchronized swimming on the long side. Okay, we're here to educate you. You can make your own investment decisions. What I see and what I believe is just what we see, and I understand and I report to you. I tell you what I see based on, I've been doing this for a long time. And guess what? You know, that's just the way it is. I can't orchestrate people to buy and sell.
Is today option expiration?
I don't even know.
I don't know. It's either today or next week for Finger. I don't know.
Right.
Those days can sometimes change the price a little bit.
So anybody wants to know, Finger Motion right now is an option that doesn't expire.
That's
It's $1.90, whatever it is, right?
Couldn't say it better. Couldn't say it better.
What more can you say? Now, if you're a gambler like I am, the options on a stock that is an option are the best ones to play. Because when they work, you murder them. I could be buying options at a nickel.
Leverage on leverage.
I could buy the $3 calls. Imagine having the timing on the stock and you know when it's going to go. I could buy the $3 calls of the stock at $1.90. I could buy millions of them because the sellers are sitting there saying, what fool is buying these things? This stock ain't going anywhere. And then the event comes. Right? What's the event that I'm looking for? Well, I'm looking for the event that A, the company does a special dividend. B, in 60 days, Donald Trump wins. I think those are pretty big events coming up. So I will be looking at the options. I just don't know when I'm going to pull the trigger, but I'm trying to figure it out. But I'm basing it on what I see happening. That's it.
All right. Well, we've been on an hour. Maybe we'll just call it there because it's Friday and everybody wants to
Where's
do
the
it.
stock at? I'm not paying attention to it.
It's on the NASDAQ. You didn't know that?
Mhm.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. It's 180.98, down 0.0102.
How is the stock always a negative? Negative. They want you to sit there and say, why is the stock always a negative? Why do I own this thing? That's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
That's what they want. It's the mentality. You're dealing with a bunch of morons, so you understand. The people that you're trading that you think are on the other side of this thing, they couldn't work at a gas station. That's how stupid they are. What they are monkeys. They're a criminal operation, just sitting there hitting a sell button. That's all they're doing.
There are some gas stations they could work at. The ones without any fuel.
If you can't see what they're doing and the patterns of the crime, then you're worse than the Keystone Cops if you're old enough to remember who they are. These guys are. This is like child's play. This is how stupid it is. The regulators, it would take them 30 seconds to say, "Hey, you can't keep selling any more shares. It's over with. The stock would explode." I think they're afraid because the money's offshore, which that ridiculous statement where the SEC doesn't regulate sales of stock offshore. I think that's the most asinine thing I've ever seen in my life. But it is a fact.
Well, we do limit countries' access to the dollar offshore. Why can't we limit it on stocks? Because we don't want to. We don't want to.
That's why they're all here doing it.
Because we don't
do
want
it.
to.
I don't understand how, who allows it. As far as I'm concerned, there's terrorists doing this stuff. It's free money. If I was a terrorist, boy, what more do you got to do? Just open up a hedge fund, start selling, do it from anywhere you like.
Yeah.
Go grab someone to work for one of these other places and say, hey, teach us how to do this. You work for us now.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. They all know. Jeff Easton could have ties to a terrorist. He could be a terrorist friend himself. I don't know. Well, prove us wrong. Let's see the money. Where's it going to? SEC. As far as I'm concerned, Jeff Easton is a terrorist and should be trialed, should put in court and trialed as a terrorist. He's selling counterfeit shares. Where's the money going to? Who's behind it? What country is the money going to? We want to know.
Hey, Stephen Rosenberg said something good about you. He said Ham has done more to expose illegal naked shorters than anyone on this planet.
Thank you very much.
See, that's a nice words.
He's still an asshole.
He's also up there. He's saying that you used to date Kamala Harris.
What a pig she is. Anyway, I don't want to get into political stuff.
I don't either.
I don't really give a shit. If you don't vote for Trump, then you're voting to have no financial future for your family. That's just the way it goes. Because there's nobody on this call and none of their friends. Just keep reaching out to your relatives, your cousins, your kids, your grandkids. They're all going to get robbed. And I'm telling you right now, don't fight back, you're going to get robbed. You can fight back by what? Voting for Trump.
Yeah.
No one, Trump ain't coming to my house, taking my hand, giving me money. No Democrats coming to my house, giving me money. I don't give a fuck. I care about financial freedom. I can do my own thing. I'll make my money, do what I have to do, and support my family and live a good life. Without this, we're all fucked. And that's it. There's nothing else I can say. That's the easiest way I can tell you. And Pat Byrne, who is not a Republican, not a Democrat, he's a libertarian, he tells you he didn't even vote for Trump. He wants to fix stock settlement. So the Democrats want to get Pat Byrne there right now.
He didn't say that. Stephen's right. He said he hopes you dated Kamala when you were younger if Trump doesn't win.
Now, I dated the ugliest woman in New York City, and thank God we didn't have cell phone cameras when I was younger. And that was verified by 20 friends. They all told me the same thing. Boy, that girl was ugly.
She's so ugly.
She's my girlfriend in the nightclub was awesome ugly, they said. My friends say quite the attack. What attack is that?
I told him, Stephen, the computer froze, but I read it correctly to him afterward.
What is GDC going on? Are they attacking it? Is that what they're doing?
Yep, it's down 40 cents.
Yeah, my friend just wrote to me, some attack. I'm not watching it. I'm here for the play. I don't care, up and down, doesn't make a difference. All right?
In general, if you believe a story, you have a theme, and nothing changes, bear attacks, which is what they are, those are usually opportunities to add to your position. But if you freeze, you don't get a chance at that. I don't know. I don't know how to give you advice, but
listen, the advice is UCGDC. It's moving up. It's down from 44. It's here. Hold on. It's down low at 155, back to 175, 81 on 150,000 shares, or 100. I can't say 170,000, something like that. This is the sign of a death rattle, the death roll. They're panicking for sure. If they thought they can win, they let the stocks go higher. Obviously, they're trapped here. No one sells stock. I didn't buy stock at $1.75. Watch it go to $2 to sell it at $1.55. And I'm sure people aren't doing the same thing. You may get a couple of morons that day traded 2,000 shares back and forth. I told everyone, if you want a day trade, go play the big boys game. This small stocks, you're just going to get robbed all the time. Go play with the big boy stocks. At least you got institutions in the middle. Here it's just pirates. It's retail against pirates. That's it. If you believe the story that the group of Chinese that owns all these shares, do you think they're going to let these guys go? I don't think so. So I'm with that. I'll stay with them. I don't know anything about the company. I don't know anything about when they attacked. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't think that my friend said after my post, they went after it, which is good. I don't care. $2 doesn't make a difference. 175, 250 doesn't make a difference to me. I'm here for the long haul, so that's the way I look at it. I'm not buying it, flipping it to make a quarter. You're welcome to do it. Knock yourself out, but that's your game. But I can't tell you how many times I did that, and I was a trader where I buy something, William, at $15, sell it at $15.50. High five. I own 5,000 shares. I made 2,500 in 30 seconds. Give a high five. Go out to lunch. Come back and say, hey, I stock you sold at $15.50. Well, it's $28 now. And you sit there and you go, what? But I never look back.
Yeah, I used to have accounts that I traded and gave advice, and that I was the same way. I would tell them, let's take our profit, and lots of times it would keep going. But the other thing I did with those accounts is if it broke even or was slightly down, I'd say, let's just get out. So in the long run, I saved them a lot of losses too.
Well, listen, I was a believer in. I said I'm here at the day trade, meaning I was here just to, poke and keep making money every day. 2,500 a day. Think about it. So, 12,000 a week. I'll take it. So anyway, listen, everyone, have a great weekend. It's beautiful outside, and I'm gonna go play pickleball this afternoon and have fun. All right.
Thank you, Ham.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna sign off because it's Friday and I've got some things to do. I thank you for joining me and him. I did, Stephen. The computer glitched, but I did tell him what you said. I'll tell him that. I wouldn't mind reading this chapter, but the problem is it's a long one. The theory is, and this was written 10 years ago, actually more like 14 years ago. What's 2008 to now? 2 plus 4, 15, 16 years ago. But we're talking about the coming perfect economic storm, which I really believed was happening then, and that's why I made a lot of decisions. It's time to get back in whatever we can each do to get ready for this perfect economic storm. My answer, one of them, is gold, silver, platinum, palladium, maybe diamonds, maybe oil and gas for sure. Things that have value now will have value then. It'll just be in a different currency. And things that have relative value now have relative value then, just in a different currency. And there'll be big swings as the masses move one direction or other, and hopefully we can trade it. What we've gone through with our stocks is just one straight year, everything is suppressed and down, down, down. And there's some lessons to learn there too. But I don't want to go on and on about them now because I really have to get to work. So I thank everybody. I wish everyone peace. And I hope your horse comes in and your dog is glad to see you, and that you hear birds sing. So catch you on the flip side.